Welcome to the Harley Carnes podcast.
Hi, everyone. If my voice sounds familiar, well, maybe it is a little bit. You probably heard it in the car late at night on the way home from somewhere, maybe while making coffee in the morning or middle of the day. For years, my job was to tell stories that mattered, the news, the ones that moved people, made them think, made sense of the day's chaos. Well, now I'm back, not with the weight of the network behind me, but with a microphone and a keyboard and the freedom to say exactly what I mean. Now, it's been a minute, as the newer understatement goes, which means, of course, that it's been too long since we had a chance to spend a little time together. Broadcasting's always been very personal for me. There were times when I was pretty sure I could hear you talking back to the radio, agreeing or disagreeing, but always connected. That was the point. This is the start of something a little bit different, a blog and a podcast, not tied to any one topic or outlet or agenda, just stories, some journalistic, some personal, some about flying. I mean, I've spent most of my life in the air, after all. For me, flying is both reality and euphemism. There's nothing like it as far as I'm concerned. When I'm up in the sky, I'm in an unusual place. Sometimes I feel like I'm visiting when I'm on the ground. But you get into a zone with anything that you love to do. And if you're pretty good at it, there are times when it's just you and the air and the plane, or you and the baseball diamond and the ball that's coming your way and the bat in your hands. You can get into the zone. Playing basketball, you might very well have those days when, like Steph Curry, you just can't miss. It's like that for me, flying airplanes frequently, whether I'm upside down, straight up in the air, or rolling around and round. It's a lot of fun. Sometimes you can be venture into some pretty turbulent weather. And that's a pretty nice analogy for life. And I'll tell you a little story about storms. If you're flying along and suddenly you realize, geez, the sky sure did get dark around me. I've been in the cloud for quite a while. It's an IFR flight, and suddenly the clouds are dark, and they're turning a little green. Well, you know that somehow or another, the air traffic controllers didn't notice it, didn't see it on the scope, and you were about to penetrate a thunderstorm, or you're in a thunderstorm, and it's really crazy. Sometimes you can reach over to try to change frequencies, and you can't put your hand on the knob to turn the frequency or to push the button. It can be like that, really. You can have your flight bag next to you, hopping up off the seat, because these are small airplanes mostly that I'm flying around in and having a blast in. Now, here's the thing to know about thunderstorms, just like the storms of life. They're about 5 to 15 miles across. The 15-mile wide thunderstorm is a big-ass thunderstorm. You don't want to be in it. 5 miles, not that big a deal. If you've been in it for a minute or so, and think about it, maybe you're only doing 2 or 3 miles a minute, how long are you going to be in the storm? Not long. Just keep on keeping on. Keep your nose pointed in the direction you're going. Now, when you first venture in, the advice is turn around and go the other way. But that's really kind of for VFR people who aren't supposed to be there in the first place. VFR, by the way, means visual flight rules. It means you can go where you can see, and if you can't see where you're going, you're not supposed to be there. I've been an instructor for well over 30 years, so I've taught this for a long, long time. And we have a blast, all of us. But I don't want to go too far down that road. We'll talk about flying another day. We'll interview some people who've been doing it and can do it much better than I can. It'll be a lot of fun. So most of the stories, I guess the bottom line for any story that you do is you want it to be grounded firmly in the human condition. And you can find that in a lot of places. You're not going to find a lot of hype here. I have never much liked the limelight. Never much had a use for puffed out chests or really loud headlines. I've always preferred to let the story do the talking, to let the weight of truth or the elegance of a well-turned phrase carry the moment. That's how I made my living. That's what I plan to keep doing here. I'll never forget the first 3 days after the towers fell. That phrase, after the towers fell, allows us to put aside for just a moment why they came down and who brought them down, and focus instead on our shattered emotions after the towers fell. Not just in New York, but shattered emotions everywhere in America and around the world. It was hard. I can tell you, it was hard to keep the tears away in those first 3 days after the towers fell. Interview after interview, the people we talked to seemed to dig down into the deepest part of us, where the heavy emotions live and where hope is doing its gentle, stubborn battle with heartbreak. More than a minute. We say that all the time. Well, that was nearly 24 years ago. Here's another cliche. Seems like yesterday. But 24 years. I mean, damn. 24 years. When I would think I could have been born, raised, married, with 2 kids by the time I was 24 years old. What about you? Can you think back 24 years ago? We've got some people listening right now who aren't yet 24 years of age, but that's how far back we have to go to remember when the towers fell. I've reported on the aftermath of tragedy and from the front lines of possibility, which is usually encompassed in a human being. People are the most amazing thing, because we can do virtually anything. I mean, the front lines of possibility is a pretty long line. Hurricanes changed our coastlines. Wars change everything else. Then you wonder about humans, don't you? I've also told the smaller stories, the human ones that remind us why we care in the first place. They are my favorite stories, probably the favorite stories of most reporters, not the biggest stories. So we'll start with storytelling, because that's where everything worthwhile begins. The good ones don't shout, don't have to. They linger, they get under your skin, they change something. Now, if I can still do that from this desk with this microphone, then I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. If you've listened before, welcome back. If you're new, sure hope you'll stick around. We'll make some connections, this time through a computer or a phone. Now, here's my promise to you. We'll keep the shout fests to a minimum. I'm not going to be yelling at anyone, but I can promise my guests can't promise that the guests won't shout at me or at each other. I'll steer clear of heavy-handed politics whenever possible, though these days nearly everything gets dragged through the mud. So, sure, we'll talk about politics and religion sometimes, kind of stuff that can lead to trouble, to hurt feelings. But sometimes it's important, and I guess we'll have to focus on it when we have to focus on it. Here's the thing. I really don't like politicians very much. Most of them are political paramecia. Remember science class in high school? Paramecium, paramecia, amoebas, single-celled creatures that react only to heat or pressure. Well, those are politicians. They can change positions faster than they can change their underwear. That's kind of scary to think of. But it is sort of fun to point a finger at them when they need a finger pointed. I've always walked a centrist line, not because it's safer, but because it's more honest and it's who I am. Program director once told me he liked my show. He'd use me from time to time to fill in when somebody, say Bob Grant when I was at ABC, would take a few days off or he'd be sick. They didn't have a regular fill-in host, so they got the news guy, and I'd come in and I'd get to do the show. It was a lot of fun. But he said to me one day, he wouldn't try to turn me into a talk show host because I wasn't polarizing enough. I didn't take outrageous positions on either side. Well, heck, I didn't think I was supposed to. Anyway, the programmers, you have to understand, are looking for a useful, which is to say marketable, audience. And they get that most easily by having someone who is definitely on one side or the other politically. Or one side or the other of an issue. The ability to see both sides is not really all that interesting to some people. And it's those people who become your devoted followers, and those are the people the advertisers are looking for. And then the advertisers don't care. They don't care if you're liberal or if you're conservative, unless it's the flavor of the moment, and somehow or another they decide they don't want to do anything with you. But the point is, that's what advertisers are looking for. They're looking for a marketable sized audience, and it's easiest for radio programmers to find that if you are polarizing. But this isn't the radio, not anymore. So you're not going to hear much in the way of political talking points here, at least not from me. I'll be looking for imagination, for curiosity, those aha surprises, and the occasional chuckle. They're a lot more interesting than the same old, we hate them because they disagree with us and that makes them stupid. You know what I mean? So the plan here is kind of simple. Tell it right, offer something real, even when the world's getting louder by the minute. One more thing. At the end of every podcast, the host says something like, hit the like button, follow, or subscribe. What they're really saying is, please, 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 with bended knee and clasped hands, please help me build the audience. So I'm going to have to say it too, because if there's no audience and I'm just talking to myself, and that's no fun at all. So we'll start today. Please subscribe, hit the like button, follow, all that good stuff, whatever applies to you. The best part, of course, is you will get notified when a new episode is ready, so you won't miss one. We'll probably do one about once a week. So that's about it for now. I really appreciate this opportunity to get back with you. Next week, we'll talk a little about writing. It's something we all need to do well, and getting started is the key. I'm Harley Carnes. We'll see you next time.